Add and subtract polynomials. When simplifying equations, remember that there is always a 1 in front of the parentheses that has no number. And there is always a 1 in front of a variable that has no number. And it's always important to always use order of operations when simplifying. And remember, distributive property falls into the multiplication step. So let's look at this first example. And we're going to go ahead and rewrite it. So we have 4 times, and inside the parentheses, 1x plus 5y minus 1. And then we have this minus 3x plus 2 minus 5y. Now, for distributive property, we take the number outside the parentheses, and we're going to need to go ahead and multiply it by each of the 3 terms. So 4 times 1x is just 4x. Now 4 times 5y is equal to 20y. So 4 times 5 is 20, and then we just have the y. Now we have 4 times this 1, which is 4, but there's a negative sign there. So we're done with that, the first part. Now the second distributive property we'll have to do and distribute the 3. Except this one also has a negative. So we're going to have to actually multiply each of the terms inside by negative 3. And we do it by the x, then we'll go the 2, and then the 5y. So negative 3 times x is, and remember this can just be thought of as a 1. If there's no number in front of a variable, it's just 1. So you have 1x. So negative 3 times 1 is minus 3x. Now we have this negative 3 times 2, so that's negative 6. Now we have negative 3 times negative 5y, so 2 negatives make a positive, so it's 15y. Then our next step will be to add the terms we can add together, which we've done before. So we have an x here, and we have an x here, so we can add those together. Then we have y here, y here. Then we have a number here and a number here. So we'll need to add up all these terms in order to simplify the expression. So when we do that, we have 4x minus 3x. So that's just equal to 1x. Next we have 20y plus 15y. So 20 plus 15, if you need to write it out to the side, 0 plus 5 is 5, 2 plus 1 is 3. So we have 35y. Then we have minus 4 minus 6. So that is just adding up 2 numbers together and putting the negative sign in front of it. So 4 plus 6 is 10, but we have a negative on both, so we keep the sign of the negative. So it's negative 10. And this would be our solution to this problem. So let's go look at another example. Example 2. Simplify the following. We have 2 times 3x squared minus 5x plus 2 minus 2x squared plus 5x plus 7. So in order to do this, we're going to go ahead and rewrite this. Now, if there is no number in front of our parentheses, it's just a 1, so we can just put a 1 right there. Now we're going to go ahead and distribute this 2 for each of the terms inside the parentheses. So 2 times 3 is 6, then we have 6x squared. 2 times 5 is 10x. We have a minus sign because of that minus sign right there. 2 times 2 is 4, and it's just positive. Now we have negative 1, and we're going to need to distribute the whole term to each of them inside the parentheses. So we have minus 1 times 2x squared. So that's minus 2x squared. Now minus 1 times 5x is minus 5x. Minus 1 times 7 is minus 7. So let's go ahead and see which one we can add together. So we have x squared and x, which are two different things. We can only add the x squareds together. So that is 6x squared minus 2x squared. So 6 minus 2 is 4. So we just have 4x squared. Next we have minus 10x minus 5x. So that's minus 15x. Because you can always think of this as, we'll leave the negative sign on the outside, so you got 10 plus 5 is 15, but that negative, because both are negative, so we have to keep the sign of the negative sign. So we have negative 15x, then we have 4 minus 7. So we could go 7 minus 4, which is 3, but the larger number, which is the 7, is the negative one. So this is going to be negative 3. And this would be our solution to this problem. So let's go look at another example. Example 3. Simplify the following. Let's go ahead and rewrite this all out. So our first step will be to take this negative 2 and multiply it by each of the terms inside the parentheses. So negative 2 times negative 5ab. So 2 times 5 is 10. And it's positive because we have two negative signs, so that makes it positive. And we just leave it as ab. Now negative 2 times 2 is negative 4a squared. Now negative 2 times negative 4b is then plus 8b. Now we have this 4 here, and we have a negative. So we need to go ahead and distribute the whole thing. So we have negative 4 times the first term. So negative 4 times negative 3 is plus 12a squared. Now we have negative 4 times negative 2ab. So that's plus 8ab. Then we have a negative 4 times negative 3. So that's plus 12b. Now we have negative 4 times the 7. So negative 4 times 7 is minus 28. Then we just have this minus 5b on the side. And now we can go ahead and simplify and start adding the ones that are like each other. So we have AB, and that's it. Then we have a squared. We can add those together. Now this b, we have this one b here, and we have another one here, and then another one here. And then we just have a number, so we'll just leave that as an x below. So we have 10ab plus 8ab. So let's just go ahead and rewrite this so we can see this a little bit better. Okay, so now we've rewritten it. So the first two terms, we can add those together. So 10 plus 8 is 18ab. Next we have negative 4a squared plus 12a squared. So 12 plus negative 4, or 12 minus 4, is plus 8a squared. Next we can add these together. So we have 8 plus 12, so that's 20. Minus 5 is 15, so we have 15b. And then go minus 28, as there's no other numbers to add or subtract to it. So this would be our final solution to this problem.